You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day, we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is Monday, May 20th, 2019. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story today is from investing.com. It's the top 5 things to know in the market on Monday. The first thing to know is stocks fall as U.S. companies start Huawei boycotts. Tech stocks are set to open sharply lower after weekend reports that Qualcomm, Broadcom, and others have stopped shipping components to Huawei in the wake of last week's executive order. Alphabet has also reportedly suspended licensing of Android software to Huawei's smartphones, in what represents a heavy blow to the Chinese company. As of 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 contract was down 36 points, or 0.5%, while the broader S&P 500 futures contract was down 3.9 points, and the Dow futures contract was down 31 points, both representing a drop of 0.1%. Overnight, China's SI 30 index had lost 0.9%, while Europe's bourses slid after a mixed start. Chipmakers Infineon and ST Microelectronics were among the biggest losers. The second thing to note today is Powell's reaction function. That's what the sub-headline here says, Powell's reaction function. I don't really know what that means. No less than 4 top officials from the Federal Reserve will speak in public today, which should give markets a decent idea of how the central bank intends to react to the impact of an escalating trade dispute on the economy. Philadelphia Fed President Patrick Harker gets the ball rolling at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, followed by Vice Chairman Richard Clarida and New York Fed President John Williams at 1:05 p.m. Fed Chairman Jeremy Powell rounds off the day with a speech at 7 p.m. Eastern. 2-year Treasury yields at 2.22% are still nearly 20 basis points below those on 3-month T-bills, implying widespread belief that the Fed will cut rates sometime over the next year or so to address a probable weakening in the economy. The third thing to know is oil prices are volatile on signs of Saudi-Russia split. Oil prices seesawed early Monday as signs of a split emerged among the world's biggest exporters over whether or not to keep barrels off the market after June, when the current so-called OPEC Plus deal on output restraint ends. Saudi Arabian oil minister Khalid Al-Falih was quoted at the weekend. They need a copy editor. Saying that there is support for extending the deal, while Russia's energy minister Alexander Novak cautioned that the parties were still exploring various options. Prices are still being supported by geopolitical tensions as the U.S. squares off against Iran, while Russia is still struggling to remove contaminated oil from its export pipeline system. At 5:45 a.m., U.S. crude WTI futures were up 0.5% at $63.22 a barrel, while international Brent blend futures were up 0.6% at $72.61 a barrel. The fourth thing to know today is victories for Modi, Morrison, Propel Indian, and Australian markets. Again, really weirdly worded subtitle here. I don't know, I'm just reading what it says, man. The world's biggest democracy returned Narendra Modi's BJP-led coalition to power, according to preliminary estimates. That led the rupee to rise more than 1% against the dollar, a 2-week high, and drove the benchmark Nifty 50 index up 3.7% to an all-time high. Meanwhile, the Aussie dollar gained 0.8% against the greenback, and the Australian S&P ASX 200 rose 1.8%. That's after Prime Minister Scott Morrison's business-friendly Conservatives surprisingly won a general election in Australia, having been predicted by opinion polls to lose their majority. And the fifth thing to know today is populists are on the march. The euro remained under pressure at the start of a week that will see elections to the European Union Parliament amid indications that the continent's mainstream political parties are set for more losses at the hands of mainly 8 right-wing populist parties. Irrespective of the result, the presidency of the powerful European Commission is likely to remain in the hands of either a center-right European People's Party, which includes German Chancellor Angela Merkel's Christian Democrats, or one of its centrist or center-left rivals. However, a big gain in seats for the fringe parties could make it harder for the EU to adopt any major legislation for the next 5 years, given the now extensive powers of the EU Parliament. Polling is due to start on Thursday and will continue over the following days. And our next story today is from MarketWatch.com. Dish to buy EchoStar's BSS business in a deal valued at over $800 million. Dish Network Corp announced Monday a deal to buy EchoStar Corp's broadcast satellite service business in a stock deal valued at over $800 million. Under terms of the agreement, Dish will exchange 22.9 million of its shares to be distributed to EchoStar shareholders in exchange for 9 direct broadcast satellites and certain key employees and select real estate properties. Based on Friday's closing price of $35.33, the deal is valued at $809.06 million. In 2017, when Dish acquired the EchoStar assets that we needed to deliver the Dish TV and Sling TV customer experiences, key broadcast satellite operations and services remained with EchoStar, said Dish Chief Executive Erik Carlson. This transaction brings those operations, including the BSS satellites, associated assets, and key team members in-house, and we expect those additions will create operational efficiencies and improve both free cash flow and EBITDA. Dish's stock, which was still inactive in pre-market trade, has run up 41.5% year to date, while the S&P 500 has gained 14.1%. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, Monday, May 20th, 2019, your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Trade smart and have a great day.
The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.